Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are all having a fabulous Monday. Today I'm coming at you with our weekly Minks Monday Q&A. And before we get started, let me share the bag that I'm currently using. And that is the Chanel boy bag in the black calfskin leather with the ruthenium hardware. All right, so let's get this party started, shall we? All right, with the very first question from Gay Lassie. Hopefully I said that correctly. I have bought a pre-loved round coin purse, congratulations, in the limited edition cherry, and I would like to clean it before using it. I am a sucker for limited edition. That is why I decided to get some few pre-loved items that I have missed. But I am very stressed with germs, and I really want those items to be cleaned before going into my purse. Can you please help? I have no idea how I can do that. I do not want to harm the vachetta or the cherries, and of course, certainly not the canvas. This is a fantastic, fantastic question. And the cherries collection, if I'm not mistaken, is very similar to the multicolor. They have the silk screening effect on top of the canvas, and you definitely want to be as careful as possible because these have a tendency to chip. So when I was doing research on this, I found so many different answers from so many different people. I heard that some people were saying use magic eraser. Personally, I would stay away from the magic eraser just because I feel that it's maybe too abrasive, especially when you're dealing with the silk screening process that I mentioned before. Some people said to use mild soap and water. Some people just said to use warm water. So there were so many different things that I heard from people. So I decided who better to ask than to call Louis Vuitton themselves. And I also looked at the little booklet because I know a lot of the limited edition items come with those little care booklets. And when I looked at it, it pretty much said, don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. It was so, there was really no way to know how to especially clean for your item. It pretty much just said, keep it out of the sun, make sure you don't get it in the rain and whatnot. So as I said before, I called Louis Vuitton themselves and I said, okay, so what do we do about cleaning items that are pieces that have the silk screening, on top of the canvas? And he suggested taking it into the Louis Vuitton boutique and seeking out the repair specialist, especially because the repair specialist can look over the item and that way they can give you the exact process that you can use to clean your item. Now he said that in the event that the repair specialist doesn't know exactly what to do, they would end up reaching out to the corporate office and then they would get back to them, and that way they can get back to you and let you know what you should use to clean your piece. And really, what I was thinking about when he was saying this is that I really wish that Louis Vuitton would offer a cleaning service, because yes, when you take your item into the boutique, or even when you're looking at items at the boutique themselves, and let's say they have a scratch, let's say they have a mark or what have you, they do have a type of cleaning solution that they might be able to use at the store to clean your product, but they don't per se have a cleaning service. And I don't know about you guys, but I can only speak for myself. I think that if they offered a cleaning service, I would feel a lot better if something was to happen to a specific item or a specific piece or what have you. Who better to repair it than the fashion house themselves, if that makes any sense, or to clean it than the fashion house themselves. So then I also asked him, I said, okay, so what if I am 6-7 hours away from a boutique? I don't want to drive down to the boutique, spend an entire day on the road just so they can say there's nothing that we can do. He said if that happens, you can definitely call the nearest boutique and see, set it up to where you can send in the item via mail, and that way they can take care of everything there, and then they can just send it back to you. Now, I know it might seem like kind of an inconvenience or maybe a little too fussy to have to go into the boutique, talk to the repair specialist, but since they do have the ability to clean some of the items there, as far as, like I've mentioned earlier, if there's a display that has a mark on it or what have you, they're able to clean it off. So I'm not saying that they necessarily do this because, again, they don't offer repair or the cleaning services. It would definitely give me the most peace of mind to take it into the boutique or send it into the boutique, and that way they can definitely just take care of that. Now, let's say that you don't want to go that route, then I would probably recommend using just warm water, as I said earlier, just dabbing it. You definitely want to be as gentle as possible. And even though I'm not saying that the minute that you rub on this, that the silk screening will fall apart or will start chipping, but you definitely want to make sure that the item, just stays looking as gorgeous as possible for as long as possible, as I mentioned earlier. So hopefully I was able to help. I know that, I was kind of bummed out. I was hoping to get a little bit more of a definitive answer. I feel like it's kind of all over the place. I feel like it's more so a what if situation versus versus this is what we recommend that you should do. You know, but like I said in the beginning of the video, I did so much research on it, and there were just so many different you know, different websites that I checked out, and so many different opinions and advice that I heard from people. So hopefully that was able to give you a little bit of a variety of things to do with your item. But congratulations on the beautiful, beautiful piece. I am curious though to hear what you guys end up doing with your limited edition pieces. Do you use magic eraser? Do you use warm water? Do you use soap? What do you end up doing to clean these items? So if you guys can, let me know in the comment section down below. That way we can offer our Sebi a little bit more of a variety of answers or options, if you will. But I wish you the best of luck, and let me know what actually ended up working out for your piece. All right, next question from Dana Boston. What's on your Christmas wish list? For Christmas, I usually end up asking for replenishments on lotion or lip glosses, although I don't need any more lip glosses. But as far as luxury items go, I don't ask for anything, especially because I end up buying those items myself. And especially this particular Christmas, I told Robert, no surprises. I absolutely don't want anything because we really need to save our money for our trip to London next year. And I was very, very bad on my birthday. You know, I had some investments that ended up paying off, and I just decided to be a little bit more of a badass, if you will, on some of the items that I purchased. I have been very blessed that I've been able to get the items that I have recently. And yeah, I want to be able to just enjoy, you know, the holidays, especially because the holidays is a time to give, not necessarily to get items for yourself. Although self-presents are always fun. But I definitely try to splurge on my family members. So yeah, nothing so exciting for Christmas this year. All right, next question from Vitnego. I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I recently received a Chanel medium boy bag, black lambskin, gold hardware as a gift from my husband for my birthday. Well, happy belated birthday and huge congratulations. What's the best way to store the bag? Should I wrap the chain in tissue and store it inside the bag? Is it okay to bend the leather part of the chain strap when storing the bag? If I leave the chain outside of the bag, I'm afraid the chain will dent the exterior of the bag inside while in storage. This is a great, great question. And I have to say that when it comes to the boy bag, this is probably the fussiest bag to have to store, especially because compared to any of my other bags, you know, any of my other bags, you just stuff them with air paper, you put them in their dust bag on the shelf, and then you're done, right? It takes a few seconds. With this one, I feel like I have to be a lot more meticulous as to how I store it because of what you mentioned before. You want to make sure you have no dents. You don't have any type of twisting or any type of anything, right? So this is what I end up doing, and I will definitely insert a picture. I'll put it on my table and just envision it being in the dust bag. But what I end up doing, see these little rings here? Sometimes I end up sitting like this. You want to avoid, at least I avoid that. So I end up putting the rings on the side like so. So that way the chain doesn't have any type of contact up here, and it doesn't have any type of contact on the edging itself. And then this is pretty much exactly what it looks like when it's on my shelf in its dust bag. I make sure that the leather part isn't anywhere, you know, like it's not like this inside of the little ring. I push it through so you have at least about 1.5 inches to 2 inches from the little ring. And then that way you can see that I have no twisting on the leather part itself. I don't have to bend the leather part. And that way you can see that I usually have the chain as far away from the edging as possible. So this is exactly how it ends up sitting. And that way you don't have to worry about the chain kind of denting in the edging as well. I would definitely stay away from putting the chain anywhere on top of here, even if it's wrapped in tissue, because these chains are quite heavy. And then if you put tissue on top of it, you're adding the weight of the paper. And I feel that you'll end up getting those dents, especially because I believe you said it is lambskin. So that's what I would end up doing. I just kind of have it like so. It's, as you can see, it doesn't really have too much contact with the edging. And I feel that this has really worked out the best way for me. I've had this bag for a little, maybe 1.5 years now, right? And check it out. I don't have any any wear on the edges. I don't have any dents whatsoever. And I think that personally, I like the way that I store it that way, because there's no contact with the edging. There's no contact with the top of the bag, with the top of the bag. And I feel that this works out the best way for me. And it really does give me peace of mind, because I know what you mean. When I first got it and I went to store it, it was a nightmare. I was getting so frustrated because I felt like I was going to damage the bag, and the next time I used it, I would have this huge dent. But that's what I would end up doing. That way you have a little bit more peace of mind. But this is what I do. And like I said, I will definitely insert a picture that way you guys know how it ends up sitting. And because the dust bags on the little boy bags are so big, it really gives you space so that you can store it this far away from the bag. So this is exactly how far it ends up sitting from the bag. It's not like this. It's like about that far away. And I end up, you know, even when I set it down on the shelf, then I kind of move it around so that it stays, you know, the way that I want it. Like I said before, it is the fussiest bag to store, in my opinion. All right, next question from Isabel Christina. I need help deciding between two Louis Vuitton handbags, the Alma MM and the Kensington, both in Damier Ebene. Which is better for everyday use and a better investment at the end? Great question. Okay, so the Alma MM retails for $18.10 here in the States, and the Kensington, there are two different ones. There's a bowling or bowler bag, if I'm not mistaken, and then the other one, and that one retails for $18.20 here in the States. Okay, so the pro to the Alma is definitely the fact that it is a classic, timeless piece to the fashion house. It's been around forever, and I personally feel that that one will hold its resale value a lot better. The only downside to it is that it is a hand carry bag, and as far as everyday use, it might be a little it might be a little tiresome to have to hold it in the crook of your arm or to just hold it this way, especially if you want to be hands-free. So I would say that that would be the only downside to it. It definitely holds its structure a lot better than the Kensington, in my opinion. But also the zipper tends to be a little bit stiff. At least I have found that to be in all of my Almas, and I have owned 3, and then I have my Alma BB as well, and that tends to have a little bit of a stiff opening. And I mentioned that in the review. Okay, now when it comes to the Kensington, that one reminds me of a dressier Neverfull. I think it has a beautiful silhouette. An added bonus is the fact that it comes with a detachable shoulder strap, if I'm not mistaken. So you have a little bit more versatility for that price point. I think that it is, obviously both of them I think are quite pricey because they do have just a little bit of leather. But if I had to choose between the two, I feel that the Kensington might be a little bit more user-friendly because of the type of silhouette that it has. The fact that it's a tote and the fact that you're able to see everything at a glance to a certain extent. So I would personally say that the Kensington is more user-friendly and the Alma is just a classic silhouette. And the Kensington will hold its resale value, but I feel that the Alma is just always a staple piece that no matter what will hold its resale value a lot better than the Kensington. But I think both are fantastic pieces, and if I was to choose one or the other, well, think about it. I have owned 3 Almas, as I said before, and I have gotten rid of all of them. So I would probably end up going for the Kensington just because I feel that it's a little bit more my style personally. Even though I do love the classic silhouette of the Alma, I do love the fact that it's a hand carry bag. I feel that it's very, you know, ladylike. The Kensington, just how easy it is to open and how easy it is to see everything. I love that aspect of it. So that's what I would end up doing. So hopefully that was able to help. All right, next question from Anne Demore. Does Lambskin of 20 years or so hold up better than Lambskin 2016? This is a fantastic, fantastic question. And you know, when I ended up doing research for the Mini, or just Lambskin in general before I even thought about adding something like that to my collection, I looked on the pre-loved market, and when you look at some of the bags that are 20, 25 years old, 30 years old, the vintage pieces from Chanel, you end up seeing more lambskin vintage pieces than caviar pieces or anything like that, right? But the lambskin just looks so incredibly fantastic It depends definitely on how the person cares for it. But for the most part, you see this beautiful sheen that the lambskin has. And when I was looking up when I was doing research on it, I found that so many people were saying that the caviar back then was a lot better, the lambskin was a lot better. I have heard some people say that they feel that the newer lambskin tends to be a little bit thinner, maybe a little bit more flimsy, a little bit more prone to sagging, if you will. So I would have to say, even though I do like the lambskin mini that I have, and I think that it is a beautiful piece, I would have to go off as far as what I have researched, that the lambskin back then will probably holds up a lot better, especially because I don't see too much sagging in the vintage pieces, as I mentioned earlier. When I look up some of the newer pieces that are on the pre-loved market, they tend to be a little bit more dense. The structure isn't there. Of course, it also depends on the type of bag that you're looking for. But if we're talking about classic flaps in general, I feel that the older ones just have that boxy type of structure. They hold their structure and they don't have as many lumps and bumps, if that makes any sense. So I would have to say that the vintage pieces definitely hold up a lot better. Kind of like Louis Vuitton, same thing. You know, a lot of people have been saying, I've even said that sometimes I felt that the canvas now is a little bit flimsier. You know, when you go back 10 years, I felt that it was a little bit sturdier. If you go back 20, 30 years, it's even sturdier than the one from 10 years ago. So I would have to say that vintage pieces definitely take the cake as far as what will hold better. But regardless, both of them are fantastic, but I have to take a major appreciation for vintage Chanel items in lambskin leather, for sure. All right, next question from the Cat Melon. Did you hear about the airport incident where a child puked on a woman's Louis Vuitton bag and the owner is asking for compensation? How do you feel about that? Yes, I did hear about this and I'm so excited to discuss this. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, on November 2nd or November 3rd in the UK, this story consists of two different families. This happened on a long flight on an airplane, and obviously on an airplane, right? So you have a family here. You have a husband, a wife, and then she's carrying a Louis Vuitton handbag. And then seated in front of them is another family with a husband, a wife, and a little boy. Now, the little boy ended up getting sick, and he ended up getting sick on this woman's Louis Vuitton handbag. So what ended up happening is that this woman told this husband over here, and she said, your son got sick on my handbag. They apologized profusely. They said, we will pay for it to be cleaned. So upon landing, they exchanged information. This lady ended up taking the bag to Louis Vuitton, and she came back and she emailed this party over here and said Louis Vuitton was not able to clean the bag. They weren't able to get the smell of sick off the handbag, and now she's asking for this family to replace her handbag. Okay, so that's pretty much the gist of it. So when I first read the story, I was kind of thinking, okay, you know, it was a mistake. It was an accident. The little boy didn't do it on purpose. I think that's, you know, that's a little harsh that they should have to pay for it, especially when they offered to have it professionally cleaned and nothing happened of it. But then the more and more I thought about it, and the more opinions or the more comments that I read about this, because it's like team handbag or team parents, most of the people that are team parents are saying that they're kind of shaming the woman for carrying such an expensive handbag. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. If she has such an expensive handbag, why isn't she flying first class? Why is she spending her money on a handbag? Why is she, you know, just totally going at her for having an expensive handbag. And I feel that kind of, in a way, you know, we've kind of discussed this topic before on Minks Monday. I'm getting all ahead of myself, you know, because we have a lot of people in our lives that don't understand our love for handbags. You know, they're, why do you spend so much money on handbag? That's so ridiculous. It's so this, blah, 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 whatever, right? So this woman, I feel like she's being punished for carrying her handbag, you know, and some people are saying she can go through traveler's insurance and you can go through the airline. It's not the airline's fault, number one. Number two, traveler's insurance. It is such a hassle to go through travel insurance. I think if any of you guys have gone through it, I know we did with our whole trip to Italy. It is not pleasant. It takes forever. And, you know, I feel that even though I'm not a parent, if I did have a daughter, if I did have a son, I would be responsible for whatever my son or daughter did, whether it was an accident or not. I feel that it is the parent's responsibility to have to pay for the bag to be replaced, because that is what the woman was asking, after it was, after they weren't able to clean it and get the smell out. And, I feel that I was so kind of torn between this, and I asked Robert's opinion on it, and Robert point blank said it's the parent's responsibility. And he gave me a really good example, and he said, okay, so if your kid is playing baseball outside and the baseball ends up flying through someone's window, one of your neighbor's windows, what ends up happening? The parents end up paying for that window. And I said, well, what about homeowners insurance? That can cover it. And he said, first of all, homeowners insurance is such a hassle as well, number one. Number two, the deductible for homeowners insurance is way more than it would be to just replace the window. So it kind of made sense when he said that. I was thinking, you're right, because it was an accident. It's not like the kid purposely, busted the window. And, so I'd have to say that at the end of the day, it is your child. And unfortunately, sometimes these things happen. I know I would apologize profusely. I would ask to get it professionally cleaned. If that didn't work, then I would definitely replace it. As much as I wouldn't want to, I think that it would be the right thing to do. However, if you are going to pay for a new handbag, you bet your sweet butt I'm going to take the puke one, because I'm not going to get stiffed out of that amount of money for nothing. You know what I mean? Especially if that woman doesn't want it. If I'm replacing the handbag, why wouldn't I be able to get that one and you get a brand new one? At least that's what I thought. Robert thought the exact same thing. I know a few people commented that as well, but this is just my own opinion, and I would really love to hear your guys' thoughts about this particular incident. Are you guys pro handbag? Are you guys team handbag? Are you guys team parents? Yeah, so it is definitely. It's funny because, like I said in the beginning, I was thinking one way, and then the more and more I thought about it, the more and more I was thinking, no, that handbag needs to be replaced, unfortunately. But great question. Okay, and then I also wanted to discuss, this is in general, this isn't in reference to any one particular question, but I've had a lot of people sending me messages on Instagram and leaving comments on my channel about selling their handbags to consignment stores. And we all know, like Yogi's Closet, Fashion File, or any types of those consignment shops, and kind of the huge chunk that they take out when you do end up consigning your handbags. And the reason why I wanted to kind of discuss this, and I know I told you guys that I was going to be doing a dedicated video to reselling. I've just been super busy. What it comes down to is, if you end up using a consignment service, the best thing that you get out of doing that is peace of mind, because when you go to resell your handbags, you just sell it to them. They take a huge chunk out because they also have to make money. Not only that, they're kind of taking the responsibility of the handbag, or anything that happens with the sale. So once you sell to them, that's it. You get your money and you're done, right? So you're paying for peace of mind, and of course they have to get their cut as well. However, if that is something that you don't want to end up doing, I've actually told people that they can use Tradesy. I've had a lot of people comment about how easy it is to use Tradesy, how awesome it is to use it, because on Tradesy you are able to put the price of your item, and then that way Tradesy in a way backs you on selling the item. They provide shipping labels and whatnot. So they kind of help their sellers. Personally, I have never used them. Of course, I do consignment myself. But when it comes to consignment services, I think a lot of people end up bashing some of the consignment companies, and they're just like, that's ridiculous, that they're taking too much, Yes, they are taking a lot, but they are also taking the responsibility of anything that happens with that handbag afterwards. And of course, they need to make money themselves, kind of like a pawn shop. If someone wants to get rid of something right then and there and they don't want to have to worry about it, a pawn shop, consignment services, they're exactly the same, and that way you don't have to worry about it. Again, that way you can go spend your money on something else. So I just wanted to just kind of touch base on that, because like I said, I've had a lot of people asking me what's the best way to get more bang for their buck if they're selling items. And I personally don't do eBay anymore. because I just feel that it's such a hassle. But again, I've had so many people comment on how wonderful Tradesy is to be able to sell your items. So I just thought I would bring it up on Minks Monday Q&A because it's a Q&A type of video. So hopefully that was able to help. All right, next question from Brittany Thomas. I see how you adore your Louis Vuitton keep balls. Would you consider any of the rolling luggage pieces, i.e. the Pagasse 55? And do you think that they are worth the investment? This is a great question. And I have thought about the rolling luggage so many times. I think that it is absolutely beautiful. The only way I would ever add a rolling luggage piece to my collection is if it's one that's small enough that I can use as a carry-on. Because if I have to check it in, I know it's going to get trashed. I know it's going to just get so much wear and tear so much quicker. And because even though I don't want to have to baby certain travel pieces, they are travel pieces, they're going to get water stains, they're going to get wear and tear, they're going to get corner wear, they're going to get all those things. And I would feel that I would worry way too much about it if it was something that was going to be checked in, if that makes any sense. I feel that for that amount of money, I would just end up stressing about it. I wouldn't be able to enjoy it. If I was in the type of position where I could just get any rolling luggage, and if it got trashed, then so be it. That would be awesome. I would be able to do that. But since I am not, I try to be as careful as possible. It would just tear my heart if I saw that the canvas, if the canvas was scratched or damaged or whatnot. So I don't have the stomach for it. I really don't. I think I would start hyperventilating, thinking something's happening to the luggage down, below the plane. But I think that they're absolutely beautiful. And again, the only way I would ever add one to my collection is if it was something that I knew I can use as a carry-on and not have to really think about it, because all these keep balls, these 3 keep balls, are the size that I can put in the cabin without having to worry about it. But do I think that they're worth the investment? Because of the wear and tear that they get and because of the price tag that they have, I personally don't feel that they are worth the investment. Not at all. Again, if you have a private plane, if you have somewhere where you can have your items with you no matter what, then yes, because they are fabulously made. My goodness, they are absolutely gorgeous. But on the real, I mean, for someone like me that's everyday type of, very casual, I don't think that it's worth the investment, unfortunately. So not for me, but I applaud those who can and don't have to think twice about such beautiful luggage pieces, but I cannot. All right, next question from Rubina Z. I have an amazing sales associate at Chanel that I've bought quite a few pieces from these past few months. I would love to get him a thoughtful Christmas present this year. What would you recommend? And is this something that you do with your sales associates? Yes, I have. In the past, I definitely have, especially if we have a very, very close relationship with my sales associates. And especially like I talked about in a few Minks Mondays ago, or maybe it was last Minks Monday, when you start to have that relationship with your sales associate, that you start talking about trips, you start talking about family, and then you get to know them a lot more on a more personal level, then I think that getting them a type of gift card to something that they like is the best way to go, because that way it's not too personal of a gift, if you know what I'm saying. And like one of my sales associates last year, he always talked about how much he loved coffee, so Starbucks, a gift card to Starbucks was a great way to be able to do that. And then I also got him a mug with a few different blends of coffee that I know that he likes. And then another time, one of my sales associates, she loves reading, she loves all that stuff, so I got her a gift card for Barnes & Noble. And then I also got her like this cute little setup for reading and whatnot. I think that sometimes those types of gifts they're very thoughtful, and you know that they will enjoy them. So I think gift cards are a great way to go. It's not too personal of an item, and that way they can get exactly what they want. But I love doing this, especially, as I said earlier, when you have such a great connection and such a great relationship with your sales associates, especially the ones that just call you, happy birthday or happy anniversary if they know about that. And then you in turn do the same thing, like, oh, I hope you had a great birthday. How was your trip and things, that type of relationship. So yes, I would recommend those types of gifts. All right, last question from Atre Basu. Hopefully I said that correctly. I want the Croisette in Damier Ebene. The strap length is a couple of inches longer on my 5'2" frame. Does it make sense to invest in a Damier Ebene adjustable strap? They are pretty pricey. This is a wonderful question. And on my channel, you guys have heard me say that if you guys get the pochette accessoire and you guys want, you want it to be crossbody, then I recommend going for an adjustable strap. However, the pochette accessoire retails for $500, and if you get an adjustable strap, you're adding a little bit more money to it, but it's exactly what, you know, how you want it to fit. But this is a major but. When it comes to bags such as the Croisette, the Pochette Métis, or any other type of handbag, they already have a very hefty price tag, and then adding an adjustable strap on top of that, to me, is not something that I would end up doing. And I feel that when you spend that type of money, it should be exactly what you want. It should fit exactly how you want it to feel, or, you know, to be. And that way, if it doesn't end up working out, then I would set my eyes on something else. Having said that, I have always said, go with what your heart sings. I say that all the time. And anytime anyone asks me, you know, I really like this, but this, and that, I always say, think about it a few times. Go to the boutique, try it out. Sometimes handbags are just too long. Sometimes handbags are just too short. Case in point, the Favorite from Louis Vuitton. The Favorite retails for $985 here in the States. It doesn't have a huge price tag, but still, $1,000 for a handbag that doesn't end up fitting me is a lot of money. I love that bag. I talk about it all the time. I rave about it. I really want to add that bag to my collection. But when I put it on, it just ends up sitting way too high on me. It looks very awkward, but there have been times where I just go into the boutique and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get it. You know, it has to work out. And no matter how hard I try, it doesn't end up just looking right on me. And I know that I can get a different, you know, strap, but I refuse to do that because it, like I said, it already has $1,000 price tag, and then adding an adjustable strap, I believe they retail from like $275 or $265 to $330. So, you know, as much as I would want to add it to my collection, as badly as I want to add it to my collection, and as gorgeous as I think it is, I always just step away from it because of that. And I know it might seem like I'm contradicting myself, but when it comes to adding an adjustable strap or adding an extra strap to a pochette accessoire, or for example, some people get it for their mini pochettes to make them longer, I'm okay with that because I know I will get a lot of versatility out of that particular item. But when it comes to the Croisette or any other type of handbag that's already priced at $1,000 plus, I believe it retails for $1,525 or $1,550 if I'm not mistaken. I personally don't want to do that because now not only is it $1,500 plus tax, then I have to get the strap that is maybe $275, $300 plus tax. So now that bag is $2,000. So that bag at $2,000, I much rather put that money towards another handbag that I will just end up enjoying and loving fresh out of the dust bag. That's just my own thought. So like I said, I don't want to sound like I'm contradicting myself, but that thought process makes sense to me. It might not make sense to some of you guys, but I just refuse to tack more money on top of a handbag that is already pricey. All right, you guys, so that does it for Minks Monday Q&A. This week, I don't know if I probably won't see you guys tomorrow because I still have I'm super busy, so you guys will probably end up seeing me on Wednesday and Thursday. I haven't really figured it out yet, but you still will see me later this week. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all later this week. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not. The choice is yours. Have a great day, you guys.